Hello and welcome to part 2 of my ultimate tank tutorial. In this episode I'm going to go over some of the basics that will help you get longer kill streaks, more kills per minute, and most importantly stay in the game longer while benefiting your team. We'll go over things like prioritizing targets, when to get behind cover, when to advance, retreat, teamwork, and a lot of other interesting stuff that will really help you when you get out on the battlefield. First up today we're going to be looking at target priority. The kill streak that you can see in the background is actually one off road transmission. I think we went around 55-0 before I actually flipped my tank upside down on one of the bridges, which wasn't the smartest thing to do. But anyway, looking at target priority, you can see on Zavod just here, as we go around this corner, there are many enemies as we freeze frame. Now I have a gunner in, and as target prioritization now, I'm taking down the closest enemies to me, and then as soon as I've taken a few down and I take a hit, I'm getting out of there again, not overextending myself, getting back so I can reevaluate and then go back forward and take down enemies again. And we pretty much take down all the enemies that are there, me and my gunner between us. I think it's about 5 or 10 of them that get taken down. A lot of people in the tank right then, what they would have done is pulled forward and stayed out and just tried to take enemies down. It only takes 3 or 4 smalls to the side and you're going to be down, so the smart thing to do is to pop backwards and forwards, making yourself harder to hit to enemies. Even if they're not shooting you at the time, it's something you need to get into the habit of. Again, on road transmission just here as we freeze frame, you can see that there's a quad bike, a tank, and an enemy engineer in the distance. Using thermal optics I can see this a lot easier. Now as we go back to watch the the gameplay, I prioritize the quad bike because straight away in my head I think it's a C4 quad. You always have to suspect this, but it isn't, so I move back forward, and then as we freeze frame again, I've noticed that I have a friendly tank behind me that the other tank has gone for, and then I have 3 engineers here that I have to deal with because they're going to be gunning for my other tank, they're going to be gunning for me. I noticed this guy behind me on the bridge, take him down, and as you can see I'm not really wasting too many shots and I'm always moving. This way that I can take down as many enemies as possible. Especially when you're using the HMG as well, it is worth bearing in mind that if you stop you're going to be a lot more accurate. So pushing forward, stopping, having a shot, pushing back, stopping, taking a shot is exactly what you want to be doing in order to neutralize enemies in the quickest time possible. As you can see there, we took down about 4 or 5 people, pushed the way up to this flag, and the other tank's been taken down by the friendly tank. So teamwork as well is very important, and we've managed to neutralize those flags and take down all of those enemies in quite a short space of time. This next clip you can see I'm actually backing up my tank, pushing up towards Charlie on a bit of Conquest Small on road transmission. Now teamwork is what I want to talk about next. It is possibly your best asset when in a tank, or in any vehicle, but especially in a tank, especially if you have 2 tanks on your team. Teamwork is really overpowered on this game. So if you've got yourself in a tank as an engineer, another engineer in your gunner seat, and then another tank with 2 engineers in, you're pretty much unbeatable as long as you're smart with the way you move and the way that you protect each other and watch each other and make sure that your teammates don't get hit by C4 or don't get taken down by a sneaky RPG from behind. Next up I want to talk about awareness. You want to be spotting enemies whenever you see them, and if you're on comms, letting people know where they are. You don't want to overextend yourself and go too far onto a flag, so as you can see now I'm sort of sitting back making sure I clean up all the enemies before pushing forward. It's good if you've got infantry around you as well, because the infantry can go and do the tricky bit, which is getting down onto the flag and actually capping it. If I push down there now, as you can see, onto Bravo, I'm going to be in a bit of trouble because there's enemies everywhere. There's going to be C4, there's going to be RPGs, so sitting back here and just helping the infantry by taking down all these enemies is going to be far more beneficial for my team. Advancing and retreating are also things that you need to understand in order to get the big point streaks. Very simply, what you want to do is kill what's in front of you and then move up and push up to the flag or the objective. If there are enemies behind you, you should think about moving away, maybe retreating, finding yourself a better position to start attacking the enemy again. What you really don't want to be doing is being in a situation where there's a flag that's not capped or a flag belonging to the enemy in front of you, a flag or an objective behind you that's uncapped or belonging to the enemy, and then you're having to spin around and deal with multiple enemies all around you. That's not a very good situation to be in, especially if someone turns up with an RPG, shoots you in the back, critical hit, you're pretty much a sitting duck. So again, as I said before, you want to be making sure everything is in front of you when you're in your tank. Also, spotting enemies is very important, just in case that they disappear behind cover, you tend to know where they are. Next up I want to talk about cover. Depending on what map you're on, you're going to find this easier because obviously people have a favourite map that they play more than others, and this really applies to either Conquest or Rush when you're in a tank. You want to make sure that you always have a retreat, always have somewhere that you can reverse out to, somewhere that you can hide behind. If you're out of APS and maybe you've taken a couple of shots, you want to have somewhere that you can jump behind. So knowing the map and knowing your surroundings is really, really important. One thing to be very wary of as well is if you're taking cover behind a building, above you there is more than likely a sniper or a support player quite ready to throw C4 and blow you up. They're always on top of buildings, especially on Siege of Shanghai. That's all they like to do, sit on top of the buildings, frisbee C4 off the edge and try and get themselves a tank kill. I hope you did enjoy this second episode of this 3-part series. If you did, please leave a like and comment. Tell me what your best kill streaks, your best moments in a tank are, any advice and stuff you have for anyone who's watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.